Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Chala from Crafting Through the Chaos of Life. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today we are going to be playing around again with our idea journal, and we are going to make this quadruple pocket tag folio. Now I know that sounds like a lot and that it's complicated, but it's actually super easy. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Again, we had our first thing that we made was this fold up pocket with the side tuck. Again, I added some little tiny tags and journaling cards to mine. In my little idea journal, I wrote down the paper size, where I score, and how I can alter it. So I said that I could also, instead of gluing down this side tuck that we had done, I can leave it open and have it as a journal writing space. So you would just flip this up, and then you could write underneath. Also to round the corners and add a thumb hole notch. So yeah, I just like to write down what it was that we made, some measurements, as well as how I can alter and change it. The one that we're making today is really cool because it actually can be sewn into your signature. Now obviously I couldn't do it with this one because I put the pages in already, but if I take a look at here in the center of our signature, you can see how we could have sewn that in, not necessarily into the center, but into the signature itself. Okay, so that's a really cool thing about this one that we can do. Now let's take a look a little closer at this little folio. So as you can see, it opens up, and inside you have little pockets for little pieces of ephemera, which is really cool. And then on both the front and back side of it, you have where you pull out, and there is a fun little tag. And I think these are just adorable. Had a lot of fun making them. So yeah, this is just a really fun little embellishment to add to your journals. So let's go ahead and get making this. Tuck this back in here. So lots of fun little journaling spots on here. Okay, so the first thing that we want is we want a piece of paper that is a standard letter size, which is 8.5 by 11. We're going to also bring in our scoreboard. So I have chosen to use one-sided scrapbook paper. This is not super thin, but it's not super thick like Tim Holtz paper. It's kind of in between, and it's a nice lightweight to add to your journal. So there's two ways that we can go about this. So we have this size where we can sew into the journal, and it's longer and it fits a tag, or there's this size that we can just put some short tags in our journaling cards. Okay, it just depends on how you score your paper or how you orient your paper. Okay, so for the first one, you're going to have it so that your 11 inches is going vertically. Okay, and then we're going to score at 1/4 of an inch. So this is kind of tricky to do, I find, but there's 1/4 of an inch. Then we're going to score at 2 inches. And then we're going to score at 5¼ inches. Okay, so that is if you orient the paper with the tallest side being vertical. Now, if you happen to have had your paper oriented wrong, that's fine. You'll just end up making this one. So for this one, you're going to have it so that the 8.5 inches is vertical and your longest length is going horizontal. Okay, so again, you're just going to score at the 1/4 inch, the 2 inches, and then the measurement that changes is this last one. You're going to score that at 6.5. Okay, and then that'll give us the shorter one. Okay, and then that just simply gets folded in half or scored in half, which would be the 4¼ But the nice thing about this size is, again, it'll fit just a bit nicer if we're not planning on sewing it into the signature. It'll fit nicer on a page like this so that you can glue it down and have some space. Okay, So let's go back to our original one. The one that's going to look like this. Okay. So we've scored at 1/4, 2, and 5 1/4 inches. Okay, now we are going to turn it over and we are going to score at 5 1/2. And that's it for all our scoring. So we can go ahead and put our scoreboard away. I'm going to keep a bone folder out though. So what we want to do is we want to fold up on that 1/4 score line. And the reason why we do that, we have this tiny little fold over, is it just gives this inside pocket here just a little bit more structure for when you're putting things in and out. It's just not as flimsy. It just gives it just a little bit more weight so that it can withhold or withstand putting things in and out. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just burnish that down. Then we're going to fold up on our next score line. It should be that 2-inch score line. And fold it down. Now here's where we want to get our scissors. Because what we want to do is, as you can see, I've cut some little notches here, and that just allows the pockets to fold nicely and not be cumbersome when you are folding over the main pocket itself, okay? So what we are going to do is fold it back down, if I can get this done right. We are going to cut up the middle score line and then cut a little triangle piece out. Let's see if I can cut a straight line here. So just a little notch out on either side, and that just helps it to fold in nicely. Okay, you can see that there. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but you're going to obviously angle it the other way. So again, kind of cutting a right angle triangle, just a thin one, off that edge, and another little right angle triangle off this edge. And hopefully they are somewhat symmetrical. If they're not, that's fine. I don't think anyone's going to look too hard. Okay, so we've got that done. Now we need to fold this portion down. Okay, let's get that a crease, and then that gives us the nice, oh, I must have folded wrong. Let's try that again. You might have to take just a smidgen off the edge if it's not folding nicely, because you don't want it to be right tucked up underneath. That way it folds nicely. There we go. Okay, and then we can fold the whole thing in half, and we have that score line. That should help us. And there we go, we've got the basis of our little pocket. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to put in our thumb hole notches. Grab my little punch. Now the other reason why we wanted to cut in a bit here is so that we could put a thumb hole notch in and not cut into our pocket. So I like to open this up and fold it in half, and then kind of gauge where the middle is. And again, we don't want a big thumb hole notch, okay, because it'll impede on our pocket. So just a tiny one, somewhat center. And I always struggle with this part. I think this looks pretty good. And hopefully it'll clear our pockets. Perfect. Just perfect on both sides. Okay, now the next thing that you want to do is if you want to ink, we need to do that part now. So bring in your inking tools. And we'll go ahead, and it's just nice to give a little bit of ink on the edge here, especially when you have a busy pattern like this. It just kind of defines that there is a pocket there. Now you could also put little thumb hole notches in here as well if you wanted. I'm not going to. I think just the one set of notches on the side is perfect for me. So go ahead and ink up our edges. And this will just help define where we've created pockets. Ink this up. So I hope everyone's doing well. I thank you so much for joining me today. Hope everyone had a nice long weekend. I want to send a big special thank you out to my new subscribers. I appreciate you all so much, and my loyal ones as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm really hoping that we get to that 500 subscribers soon, because I want to give away that journal, that owl journal, because if I don't give it away soon, I'm going to end up writing in it myself. We don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm probably inking off screen here, but you know what inking looks like. All right. Oh, hopefully you can't hear my stomach. It is growling away. Oops. Okay. We're getting there. I just like it. Like the look of it inked up. And last side. There we go. And the more pattern paper you have, then the less you have to really kind of decorate on the outside of it. So this one was a pretty plain one, so I did add some book page and a little kind of detail there, a little focal point. So, and then I left the back blank on mine because I'm going to be gluing it down into my journal. You can decorate this side as well if you want. Okay, I think we are pretty good on the inking front. So we'll just set that aside for now. Now we need our glue. I like to use art glitter glue for this, basically because it's got such a nice fine tip and we want just little bits of glue. So we don't necessarily have to glue this down because it'll get glued when we glue our pockets down, and I don't want any glue impeding on the ability to tuck in my tags. Okay, so I'm going to leave mine loose. Now I'm going to actually add glue to this little 1/4 of an inch piece. I do want to glue this down. There we go. And the other side. Okay, sorry I got really quiet there for a second. I was focusing. Okay, and now we'll glue the sides down. This is pretty simple. It looks complicated, but it really is very simple. A nice idea to put in our journal. So this is really day 2 of me being fully into my new craft studio or art studio, whatever you want to call it, and I am so excited. I have everything just arranged so nicely that it's actually so easy to find things now, and handy. I just have everything in a good location, and I really like the setup I have. So maybe I'll get brave and do a a craft room tour while it's still clean in here. Okay, so there we go. That is pretty much it for the pocket. Okay, and we'll just double check, make sure everything is good. Perfect. Okay, so now what we need to do is move on to our tags. And I will be right back in a titch with the materials for that. Okay, so I am back. I have some scrap pieces of paper here that we're going to go ahead and use to make our tag bases. So our tags are going to measure 5 1/4 inches by 3 inches. So we'll get out our cutting board, our trimmer, and these should be about 5 1/4 already. Looks like they are 5 1/2, so we'll cut 1/4 of an inch off of these so that they're 5 1/4. Okay, and then we need them to be at 3 inches. All right. Again, if you've folded it the other way where it's shorter, you're going to have to do your own measurements for that. I didn't measure the tags yet for that, but I guess we could do that right now. Let's see. It measures about 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, so your tag should be, you want it about, you could do 4 1/4 or 4 inches. I'd probably do 4 inches by 4 1/4. So yeah, 4 1/4 by 4. And that'll slide in there really nicely, in and out of that one. Okay? Alright, so now that we've got that all trimmed up, put this away. I'm doing really good trying to keep things nice and tidy and clean, so that's very exciting. That's one of the reasons why I have everything set up the way I do. Okay, so we want to have matching corners, so I like to cut them both at the same time. And trim that one. We'll fold it over and trim off this side. There we go. Now I've got 2 tags that match for angles. Okay, and now basically what you're going to do is you're going to decorate these any way you like. I won't be decorating these on camera because, I mean, you're going to decorate them how you want to decorate them. So I'll do these ones off camera. But so for these ones, I just did a bit of book page. I have some little scrap pieces of paper here that I just pulled from for these pieces. And then I used a Tim Holtz person. I did punch a hole and I put eyelets in. And then I also did some sewing around the edge. I just think that finishes it off so nicely. Then as well, I also have some little words here. This is just some sari silk that I have that I used for tags. You can use ribbon. You don't have to put eyelets in. You can just fold over a piece of thicker ribbon and staple it down. That works too. So yeah, that is really our quadruple pocket, what did I call it? Quadruple pocket tag folio. And then it's ready just to slip into our journal. Either you're going to sew it in or you're going to glue it in like I am going to. So yeah, that is pretty much it. And then for the inside, you're just going to tuck in whatever little pieces of ephemera that you have that look good. You can make little journaling cards. I just use some little things that I had from my little bits and bobs container, and I just think that is so much fun. So thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. P.S. I love you. Hey guys, if you'd like to participate in my snail mail swap where we exchange fun craft supplies with each other, go ahead, take my address down and send me a note. I can't wait to see what you send me, and I can't wait to send you a package in return. Thanks so much guys, and P.S. I love you.